This is the most exhilarating motorsport on earth, I'm sure. Hop in the car, strap myself in, and I basically zone out. I like to settle in before the guys start the engine up.
Put all your safety gear on, your helmet, your neck brace, and they strap you in. You're really tight in the car. A little bit nerve-wracking because it's just not the normal thing. The motor starts, everything's cool, all of a sudden everything's good. Now you've got to do your job properly.
You come out there, you've got 10,000 people watching you to perform. You've got 3,500 horsepower, and when you dump that clutch, it's unbelievable. The thing can get up on the tyre and do whatever it wants to do.
Burnout's always good fun, providing nothing goes wrong. You get it up on the tyres and the back of the car's more or less floating away. And you pick up some serious speed, and I've come unstuck in the burnout, and plenty others have too, you know.
We hold at about 7,000 RPMs, 8,000 through the burnout. We get off it, we back up, get a bit of my breath back.
The burnout basically warms the track, warms the tyres. If you can launch in that warm tyre mark, that's your best chance to get down the track.
It looks like it's fun and that, but it can be awfully dangerous.
You go in, you bring on the first light, bring up your RPM really slowly, let go of the brake, the car will just creep in, bring on the second light, and bang, away you go.
You're a passenger in the car for the first few tenths of a second. It takes a little while for the brain to catch up with the car, and then you can start absorbing what's going on around you and trying to drive the car. But you are basically a passenger on the launch. It's unreal.
As soon as you pull second gear, you accelerate around about 3 Gs, and it's powering on now. You know you're going to get down the racetrack. You wait for the shift light to come on, hit top gear, and you get out there a little bit. Now in top gear, you could be doing 200 mile an hour, 220 mile an hour, and if it just loses a bit of traction, you hear a bit of smoke come in the car, and all of a sudden you see the back wheels go up, and boom, she goes a little bit sideways on.
The finish line's the scariest part. You're doing 400 odd kilometres an hour, and then you pull the chute, push the clutch in, and it dances around sometimes, and it's like, you know, sometimes you go, how much do I move the steering wheel?
And then it's 4.4 Gs of negative. So it's eyeballs in, eyeballs out. And sometimes you get pretty hairy in the braking area too, because when those chutes come out, the back of the car gets very, very light, and it can dance around and get you into trouble as well.
When you've run fast, it is cool, but it wants to put you through the windscreen, you know, but it's awesome.
We've had a couple of explosions, a couple of chute failures, and a couple of brake failures.
It's the ones that when it shakes and wants to hit the wall, you know, they're the ones you get out and you're sweating like a pig, you know, so no, it's cool, it's a good feeling.
They're fast, and like I say, 3 Gs, door slammers, straight down the track, very unpredictable cars, very powerful, but a hell of a lot of fun when it all goes well.
The Perth Motorplex. There is not a venue in the country that appreciates blown race cars quite like this place. And a man who likes them blown as well is here, Rusty Gregory, a big Ford fan, but we can look past that just for one day today here at the Perth Motorplex.
Well, I'm not playing favourites today, Chad, but I'll tell you what, we've got one hell of a show here at the Pro Showdown. Top alcohol, top door slammer, 19 cars in top door slammer. It's going to be huge. Matt Nolte's down there in the pits with John Zappia, our reigning champion.
Well, a brand new season is upon us here in the ANDRA Drag Racing Series, and the guy alongside me, not one championship now, he's won 6, and John Zappia, you're looking for number 7 this year.
Oh, definitely. We want to try and start good this first meeting and get the Foot Striker Monaro out in front and have them chasing us. That's my plan.
It's only been 3 months since that epic day at Sydney Dragway where the shoe was on the other foot for Peter Kapiris. You won the championship, but it's going to be hard to defend this year, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Look, there's 11 rounds and, you know, everyone's stepping up. There's 19 door slammers here. 8 of them are going to qualify. You know, anything can happen. So we've got 3 qualifiers tonight. We've got to make them count.
Well, consistency is the word we're hearing a lot here. Good luck and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, with 19 cars entered in ANDRA Top Door Slammer, we were expecting a few shocks and maybe a few big names to miss out, but Rusty, I'm not sure we quite expected to have this much drama.
Yes, I don't think anybody expected the non-qualifiers that we had this weekend. One surprise, though, was Grant O'Rourke, 5.99 with that brand new Pontiac Firebird. What a run. Gets him into the field. It was off the trailer as well in qualifying number 1. Great run.
That new car is just about perfect. Don't even touch it. It's good to go this weekend. Pino Priolo, he went 6.01. Everybody expecting a 5-second bump spot this weekend. Wasn't to be. And Pino's been running these big numbers around there, 6.0s earlier this year, and that's a personal best, that 6.01.
Mark O'Leary now, a very capable driver out of Sydney. 5.96 was the run here. Gets him into the field in the number 6 spot. But it's a very, very tough field when a 5.96 is only good enough for the number 6 spot at the moment.
A couple of heavy hitters here in the west. This is Marty Dack in the Falcon. He goes flying through, and in the opposite lane, it was Victor Bray who would not qualify for the event, but that pass for Dack, good enough to see him into the top half of the field at 5.94. But yeah, Victor Bray, ouch.
And Morris Fabietti, another one of these Sydney races, it's made the trek across the Nullarbor and he makes it count. 5.95 gets him into the field, into the number 5 qualifying spot.
Had his lovely wife Mary come along for the drive across the Nullarbor. It's the first time that she's had a chance to do it, believe it or not, but this is the big news. First of all, Murray O'Connor, 5.90, your number 1 qualifier, but Peter Kapiris is a DNQ.
For a man who came within 1 run of winning the national championship last year, a DNQ is not the way you want to start your championship campaign. Stuart Bishop now, qualifying number 3, just gets into the field with a 5.93, left it to the last minute. I tell you what, but gets into the field, as we said, number 3 spot, that's where he will start on race day. 5.93, a good run.
Yeah, but in the other lane, the DeWalt Monaro, Benny Bray not making the field this weekend. So Ben Bray, Victor Bray, and finally, well, we had Peter Kapiris also not making the field, but this is John Zapier making his way in with a 5.92 to be number 2 qualifier, and a big engine detonation for Marty Dack. Have a look at the smoke and fire. That thing dropped a valve, or maybe even 2, before a massive detonation, blowing smoke rings as it takes that final turn off. And watch how quickly the Motorplex staff get to this car. They were all over it. The fire is out. While he might have some engine damage, he is safely in the field at the moment. So congratulations, Murray O'Connor in that home-built Falcon. He'll be your number 1 qualifier with that 5.90, 6.01 bump spot in the end. But Victor Bray, Ben Bray, Peter Kapiris, Daniel Gregorini, Russ Pavey, some big names missing out. But yes, Murray O'Connor, your number 1 qualifier. Now we move into eliminations battle, and well, this is going to be very interesting because we've got some unusual matchups today, Rusty.
Yeah, some big matchups. It's a very unusual race day field when we have a look at it. First pair up, though, it's going to be Martin Dack and Morris Fabietti, 2 guys who have qualified on a pretty regular basis over the last few years. Fabietti spent a little bit of time in the wilderness, but it's great to see him back in the 8-car field here in Perth.
He is a obviously former Top Door Slammer event winner, but also a former top qualifier running over here in the West. Has top qualified at the Western Nationals before. But nobody really pulled out the big numbers that we'd expect to see. No big 580s or, dare I say, 570s yet this weekend.
No, there were a lot of predictions coming into this event. We thought we were going to see maybe a couple of 570s, but nobody in qualifying was able to get under 590. Murray O'Connor, surprise number 1 qualifier with a 590. Zapier slotted into 2nd. These 2 guys, well, theoretically should be the closest race of the first round. They're number 4 and 5 in the qualifying list. That usually means it's going to be a pretty good race.
So Marty Dack had lane choice being the number 4 qualifier, and typically people tend to take that right-hand lane to the motivation signage behind it. We call it the motivation lane here at the Perth Motorplex. The reason being the sunlight actually disappears from that lane sooner than it does the left-hand lane. Therefore, the track temperature comes down into that sweet spot that little bit earlier.
The other interesting thing here is that Morris Fabietti, far side of the racetrack, you can see it's a left-hand drive car. He's going to be looking, well, kind of into the sun with that Christmas tree. That can make a big, big difference to your reaction times.
It's Crew Chief Stuart Rowland. If there's anyone who can get a car down this racetrack next to Crew Chief Robin Judd, it's that man. He's just walking out of frame to the left-hand side. First round, eliminations. Top Door Slammer, Fabietti versus Dack.
Dead late on the tree for Fabietti, all over the shop. He pulls it up just in time, but loses the race. Martin Dack will take the win, but that thing looks wounded. Morris Fabietti out of shape in a big way.
Man, Fabietti got wicked sideways. We've seen that a few times here at the Perth Motorplex. We've seen himself and Benny Bishop do this. Let's see why. just hazes those rear tyres, and that kicked well up on 2 wheels on the left, then on the right. Let's watch from the onboard. Jeez, it was a good catch, actually.
It was a really good drive job from Maurice Fabietti. Thankfully, Martin Dack didn't have problems of his own. Otherwise, could have been really nasty. Dack, though, 6:44. It's going to be tough to get him lane choice. I don't think it's going to do it. There's still a lot of tough cars to come in this qualified field. But we've got the number 3 and 6 qualifiers rolling out now. That's Mark Valeri. He's going to be taking on Stuart Bishop in the battle of the Camaros.
And I wonder if maybe Marty did do a little bit of damage. We saw a fair bit of smoke out the headers across the finish line. Okay. Wow, massive RPM for Bishop in the burnout.
Oh, and it was a nice long one as well. Way down track with the burnout. It's a bit of a black art, the burnout, when it comes to exactly how long you need to go, how many RPM. I'll tell you, the crew chiefs like them nice and short because they can be a little bit punishing on valve springs, but a lot of the drivers out there, they say, you know what, the burnout's all part of the fun when you're racing these top door slams. So Stuart Bishop, he's paying the bills. He gets to decide how long the burnout is.
Yeah, sorry to his crew chief, unfortunately, who's done a pretty good job getting a handle on this car. We can see him to the top of the frame. The son of Debbie and Steve Reed. He's done a lot of work with his car, getting it up to speed recently. And Mark Valeri racing at the track where he won his one and only round of ANDRA Top Door Slammer back at the Golden States a few seasons back now.
Yes, another second-generation racer in a car that has actually won the Australian Top Door Slammer Championship with Steve Stanek behind the wheel. So this car, it's certainly got the runs on the board, and Mark can certainly drive it, but he's going to have one tough ask up against the Wallace Bishop Jeweller entry.
That was Steve Stanek walking away from the supercharger at the front of Valeri's car. He's over in that left-hand lane. Maurice Fabietti struggled to get down that lane. On board with Stuart Bishop as he is just going to slowly edge this car into stage with his right hand on the brake. Up come the revs.
Pretty clean on the greens, although problems for Mark Valeri. Shoots come out early and a very nice run for Stuart Bishop. A 6.02, that is absolutely honking. Right on the sort of pace that we've seen this weekend, around that 6.05.90 mark, so he's certainly going to be a threat in the semi-finals.
How about that tyre shake for Mark Valeri? That's why the shoots came out. It just shook out. Watch this rider screen right there. It rattles really badly. And that parachute flying out, there's no way that he would have hit that to come out at that time. So, unfortunately, that one's done for Valeri. But Stuart Bishop going forward to a semi-final as the hometown hero comes out against a deserter, if you will. The man who used to be over here in Perth, but now lives in Brisbane.
He also used to run a Monaro as well. Was a long time Holden stalwart, but this weekend, a little bit different for Grant O'Rourke. He's running the Pontiac Firebird, one of the first ones we've actually seen in this country. Man, this thing just looks cool, doesn't it? It's mean in the flat black. It's got the big spider on the side for O'Rourke Motorsport, and he's into the field in his first attempt with this car, so it's a good start.
Very, very impressive. His wife, Debbie, who celebrates her birthday this weekend, has also made the field in top alcohol, which is quite unusual. I'm not sure if we've ever seen that before, a husband and wife combo making different fields. We're used to seeing Debbie and Steve Reed making the same field on a few occasions, but that's a bit of a different way to go about it. Interesting thing about this car, Rusty, the back end, we're starting to see these rear wings looking more and more like pro stock wings.
Yeah, they're getting down to these deck spoiler style wings, which don't give you a lot of side downforce when the cars are getting out of shape sideways. Believe it or not, the air actually helps keep the car straight, I should say, but it's more about reducing the drag at the top end of the racetrack, but still keeping those big rear tyres planted when you're going 250 odd miles per hour.
This is interesting. John Zapier with lane choice has taken that left-hand lane. Typically, he likes to run over on that side because he doesn't have to look in the mirror to see the Christmas tree. Sometimes likes to have a clean look at it from the A-pillar of his car, but it's an interesting matchup, this one. O'Rourke versus Zapier. Pretty even at the tree. And this one's going to go all the way to the stripe and an upset. A huge upset. Grant O'Rourke. Wow, where did that come from? 5.99, and he eliminates John Zapier.
Knocks out the 6-time champ in the first round of racing. And you can see, John Zapier is not happy about it. He was beating hard on that steering wheel. He knows he just got flat out run there. And Grant O'Rourke on his way to the semi-finals. We're going to nickname him the Giant Killer.
Wow, that is incredible. Kingslayer. Debbie O'Rourke will be pumping the air back in the staging lane. She's getting ready for a top alcohol pass, but that is incredible. John Zapier, maybe a small pedal on that car on that pass because there's no way knowing that thing's running 6.0s on a clean day.
That's just incredible. Well, we move on to our, I'm going to call him the surprise number 1 qualifier, Murray O'Connor. He's up against another Perth racer here in Pino Priolo, but Murray O'Connor came out of the blocks, went 5.90, knocked off, John Zappia from the number 1 spot in a field that didn't include guys like Peter Kapiris, Ben Bray, Victor Bray, other guys like Russell Pavey, Daniel Gregorini, all guys that we know have run in the 5-second zone, and Murray O'Connor just laid it down.
He did lay it down, but he's done so many passes here at the Motorplex, that even when he came over to the Nitro Champs and he made a semi-final over there, and, even running other tracks on the East Coast, he's been successful. He knows how to get the job done. Pino Priolo, on the other hand, he's yet to really claim some win lights in ANDRA Top Door Slammer. He's had Aaron Deary, who's actually racing in Top Alcohol this weekend, making the tune-up on this car a little bit more successful, but it's a big ask right now because he's up against Murray O'Connor, who we know can run 580s if he needs to.
And when we say Priolo got into the field, he only just squeaked in as well. This is actually the second tightest top door slammer field that we've ever had in this country. Only just over 1/10 of a second separated the entire field. Priolo got in with a 6.01. The difference between him and the number 9 qualifier, Victor Bray, only 0.02 of a second. Big hole shot to Priolo, and O'Connor is out of shape. Another upset. We're going to call this the upset showdown. Priolo goes a 6.09, 386 kilometres an hour, and knocks off the number 1 qualifier. If I'm not mistaken, that is his first ever round win in the ANDRA Drag Racing Series.
That it is, and that is incredible. Pino Priolo knocks out our number 1 qualifier, and I'm pretty sure that O'Connor, just smoked the tyres. That left-hand lane has been troublesome. 4 wins to the right-hand lane, and he's only got himself to blame. They had lane choice. I wonder if it's because they saw Zappia go there, they thought maybe that's where they should be as well.
Absolutely. Well, here's your race ladder. Priolo will take on Marty Dack in the semi-finals, and O'Rourke will take on Stuart Bishop.
The Crow Cam's pit report here at Perth Motorplex. There's always going to be an upset 9. Marty Dack has gone on to win the race, but you've heard an engine yet again.
Yeah, we've done number 3. We're just pulling a piston out now and putting a new rod in. But we also lifted the blower, so we've got a manifold problem. So the boys are working pretty hard. We'll get it back out there.
It's not like you guys have had your work cut out since last night, but man, you guys are on fire at the moment.
Yeah, we are. I've got to give it to the boys. They've worked well, and they've worked all night too. So, it just keeps putting something else up to us, but we'll get through it.
So the first round for ANDRA Top Door Slammer is done, but after the break we'll be switching our attention to the funny cars and dragsters of Top Alcohol. Their eliminations are coming up. Welcome back to Speed Week, coming to you from the Perth Motorplex. As we get ready for this exciting first round, we've sent Matt Nolte down to the pits to find out just how do these racers get their race face on, and are there any pre-race rituals or any little superstitions? We call it getting in the zone.
Ritual, superstition, whatever, I'm probably the worst one out there. Getting dressed, I guess. Always the left boot on first, right boot, then Deb does them up.
I put the same shoe on the same foot every time, get in the car the same way, put the gloves on the same way, every meeting, do everything the same.
I like to wait until, not the last minute, but until there's a couple of cars in front and get in and just settle in the car. See some guys in the staging lanes for half an hour or something before. Well, I just don't like doing that, especially if you get caught up. Sometimes you might be held on a hot day for 40 minutes sitting in the car, 9-layer fire suit, very, very hot.
Well, I just take my time, Rome wasn't built in a day, but then again, I wasn't the foreman either. No, I really like to relax. I feel that I can concentrate better with my helmet off. Ever since Speedway, I was exactly the same, just same routine, balaclava, helmet, neck brace, right glove always goes on first. It's just something that ever since I've been racing, that's what I do. And you just, you get into that rhythm and that's the way I am. And as long as I can relax, and I'm good to go.
Before I get into the car, I always double check the wheelie bar, put the safety pin in, make sure it's in the correct position, and then set the chutes and pull the pins on the chutes and make sure the cables are in properly so nothing's going to ever fall out.
Yeah, I'm really superstitious. That's, see no green on the car, and there's a whole heap of things that I'm into. And, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever, we'll have fun with it.
Well, qualifying has taken place in ANDRA Top Alcohol. We're going to check out some of the highlights from that right now. A couple of really strong local races. Craig Glasby going 5.61 on this pass, and alongside him, the dragster of one of the local boys in Adam Margin, also on a charge this weekend.
Yeah, Gary Phillips on screen now. And one of our non-qualifiers that we haven't talked about yet so far, it is Steve Reed, a guy who's been around top alcohol cars for a long, long time. You can see he has problems and does not qualify for this top alcohol field. Gary Phillips, no problems for him with a 5.56, slots into the number one spot for the time being, but will he stay there?
Yeah, Steve Reed not making the field with a 5.84 just to show you just how tough it is. How about this though? Debbie O'Rourke, the birthday girl this weekend, she went 5.71, an awesome pass from Deb, slotting into 7th position just in front of this guy, the Alutech funny car of Rob Pilkington. This 5.75 would be the bump spot at the end of the weekend. That, Rusty, is a very tough bump.
Very, very tough top alcohol field this weekend here indeed at the Pro Showdown. And of course Steve Ham, another guy who has been around for a long, long time in top alcohol now. He's got a lot of experience in top alcohol altered as well, and goes a 5.65, gets into the field. Top speed of the meet so far as well, 260 miles per hour.
Here is Adam Marchant, and this was his number one qualifying pass. Well, good enough to leave him actually fit at the moment. So in that mid-pack battle, him and Craig Glasby both running 5.615s. So they're going to be going at it in what will be a very interesting first round matchup in eliminations. But this guy stole the show. 21-year-old who is just on top of his game. Shane Weston comes out last session and bang, goes 5.562 seconds, 252 miles per hour, and steals the number one spot from Gary Phillips.
Yep, and that run there is John Cannulli on screen. Goes through for another good pass, a 5.61. He is anchored in that 5.60 zone so far. So here is your High-Tech Oils top alcohol qualifying list. You can see Shane Weston leading the field right there, 5.56. What a shock. Out-qualifies the reigning 16-time champion Gary Phillips. This is going to be a tough, tough field.
Some plenty of beautiful sunsets in this part of the world as we get ready for top alcohol. The eliminations for the first time this year set to get ready. Rusty Gregory alongside me for this one as John Cannulli comes forward in this awesome looking funny car.
Yep, the Doo Social Network funny car, Crossroads Racing as well on board supporting their efforts. A guy who is really trying to focus on the Top Alcohol Championship this year. He's racing in both Top Door Slammer and Top Alcohol this weekend, but didn't qualify with the Door Slammer, unfortunately. But the good news for him is he is in the field in the top half as well. Number 3 qualifying spot for John Cannulli, but no easy ask in the first round of racing. He is up against the speed merchant of Top Alcohol these days, Steve Ham.
Speed Merchant, that's a great name for this guy. He has been seriously fast in the last few years. He went 260 miles per hour here in qualifying. He's hanging on to those top mile per hour, top speed points, the bonus points that you get. But we were talking about it earlier. He's flying solo this week. He doesn't have his usual man in the corner.
Yeah, James Rowland, the guy who usually tunes his car, is over in Portland doing some nitro duties with Anthony Begley. So Steve and the guys are running a car on their own this weekend. Seem to be doing a pretty good job of it, I've got to say. 5.65 in qualifying, 260 miles per hour. Nothing to sneeze at, but John Cannulli, he's not going to be a pushover in this first round.
This is the event where John Cannulli won his first ever Top Alcohol crown. Did so a few years ago. We get set, the revs come up, you need to launch a funny car of high RPM. Hold on, here we go.
Oh, shake, rattle and roll for Steve Ham. John Cannulli, not too many problems. It's not a great run, but a 5.66 at just on 400 k's an hour will get the job done. It looked pretty ugly off the start line, I've got to say. It looked like it was shaking and carrying on just a little bit, but Steve Ham, not the way he wanted to start his championship campaign.
Well, it's a tricky little racetrack to get your handle on, that left-hand lane, and that one looked like tyre smoke, so maybe it rattled for a split second before it went up into smoke, but again, we saw it with the Top Door Slammers, didn't we? All 4 victories happened in that right-hand lane, and not a single car really had a clean pass down that left-hand lane, so maybe a bit of a disparity. It usually happens in the first round here at the Motorplex because to wait for this Gary Phillips. Nice big burnout in Lucas Oil Products funny car. Because the sun sets in the west, there's a big building there where all the timing and the commentary, everything happens where we're sitting. Well, that's where the shadow starts to creep across the racetrack. Now, the shadow looks to have just about got across the whole racetrack at the moment, but definitely that left-hand lane is usually hotter for this first session.
Yeah, there's still going to be a fair bit of heat in it for Gary Phillips, that's for sure. He's taken that lane with the higher qualified car, the right-hand lane. And Debbie O'Rourke coming in as the number 7 qualifier in this top alcohol field. Ironically enough, exactly the same qualifying position as her husband qualified in top door slammer, I should say. It does some spooky things, this drag racing, I've got to tell you.
Full moon this weekend, you see, so we've got to watch out for these things. Interesting matchup. I mean, Gary Phillips obviously with the runs on the board, but Debbie's done a fair few passes over in the west. This is their old home before they made the move east to Queensland.
Debbie O'Rourke with the new body on board as well this weekend. The Monte Carlo replacing the older Camaro body that they ran for quite a few years. Funny cars really starting to populate the landscape in top alcohol these days, really dominating over the dragsters. I mean, 6 of the 8 cars in the field this weekend are funny cars. So that says a lot about it, doesn't it, Chad?
And these tricky conditions in the first round probably suit the dragsters, to be honest. When the conditions are marginal, you probably want to be in a dragster. Later in the night, when this place gets very groupy and the air gets good, it'll be funny car country. But right now, here we go. Phillips versus O'Rourke. Debbie O'Rourke, and she's already off this one. It's going to be all Lucas Oil Products to the flag. Parachutes out. Gary Phillips goes 5.82. Our number 2 qualifier will go through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, 5.82, probably off the pace a little bit from what we've come to expect from Gary Phillips. But that being said, it looked like the throttle blades did close pretty early before the finish line. You can see for Debbie O'Rourke just straight up in tyre smoke. The pipes went wet, and that was all it took for Gary Phillips. But a 5.82, I'm not even sure that's going to be good enough to hold on for lane choice, to be honest.
Yeah, that's going to be the tricky point here. Now, what we're talking about there with lane choice is we disconnect the starter motor to the front of Craig Glasby's Oztech Metals funny car. If you run faster than your opponent that you'll be up against in the semi-finals or in the final, then you get to pick which lane you go into as Adam Marchant moves on forward.
Very, very stout car, this one. It's had a fair bit of chassis work done to it over the off-season and the later part of last year. I believe they put a new front half on the car, and it's really starting to perform the way that they expected it to. It's doing everything right, and they're being able to lay down some really, really solid numbers. 5.61 in qualifying at a big speed for a dragster as well, 250 miles per hour. So those guys have certainly got the horsepower on board.
He's been one of the stronger dragster runners for the last few seasons now, only a young guy himself as well. And was so close to claiming a national championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah, very, very tough racer. And, of course, Craig Glasby, another tough racer out of Perth. Doesn't do a lot of rounds of the Top Alcohol Championship, mainly concentrates on the Perth rounds, but certainly when that car comes out, it is a threat. Can run very deep into the 5.5 second zone, which is more than competitive in top alcohol trim these days.
A bit of a relative unknown. And how will he go on a pro tree? That's the other thing to think about. He does a lot of running here at the Perth Motorplex, but all of that is usually, at least, done with a sportsman-style tree running in what they call top comp over here. You see the extra reinforcements around the cage of Adam Marchant's dragster as well. Has a very top fuel look about it now.
As these cars bump into stage, you'll hear them bring the RPMs up to around about 5,500. That's where they launch it. They drop the clutch. It's not for the faint of heart. And a big, big hole shot to the funny car.
Wow, we asked how he would go on a pro tree, and he smokes Marchant, the more seasoned campaigner. 5.60. We said Glasby has the potential. He proved it. What a fantastic pass. Beat him at the tree, beat him at the finish line.
It wasn't a bad reaction time from Marchant. He just got absolutely smoked. Craig Glasby, an 0.99 on the tree, is almost psychic, especially when you don't have a lot of practice at it. He had a good driving job as well, really close to the centre line, still pulled off that 5.60. That's a great win for him.
We said these conditions favour the dragsters. Dragster is the only car to get down the left-hand lane at the moment. I mean, that just goes to show that tuning circle to be able to get down that lane at the moment is very difficult. And that is not what Rob Pilkington wants to hear right now.
No, not even close in the Alutech entry. He's up against the number 1 qualifier. Again, another surprise number 1 qualifier in Shane Weston. Now, it's not a surprise because he ran the numbers. We know he can, but the fact that he out-qualified guys like Gary Phillips, John Canuli, Steve Ham, guys who have been running Top Alcohol for a long, long time. And this kid, and I call him a kid with the most utmost respect, but this kid comes out and goes 5.56, 252 miles per hour in a dragster.
And it was a late charge. He stole the top qualifier spot from Gary Phillips, who decided to sit that final session out, probably thinking that no one would take that off him, but it's going to cost him some points. And now Shane Weston, top qualifier, holding on to low ET points as well. 21-year-old local racer up against a man who has won this round of the championship here at the Motorplex before, a track champion as well in the Alitech Funny Car. This guy's been doing a lot of racing in this Monte Carlo over the last 3 or 4 seasons here at the Motorplex. These two have come up against each other as well in local racing a few times. So Pilco's got the runs on the board with the Part03, but that left-hand lane right now is not really a fun spot to be in if you're a funny car or a door slammer right now.
Tell you what, the strength of these WA blown alcohol cars is quite incredible. In top door slammer and top alcohol, the depth is just phenomenal at the moment. Lazy on the tree for both sides. Huge drive drop for Shane Weston. He had that thing about as sideways as you want to get a dragster and still runs a 5.64. Just pips Pilkington at the finish line with a 5.66. I can't wait to see the replay on this one.
Well, props to Pilco for even getting down the racetrack in these conditions. He's the only funny car to get down there, and he'll be very close to nipping this one at the finish line. Weston had him at every little part down the racetrack, at every increment, but this is the amazing part. Shane Weston in the top end of the racetrack was super sideways. Look at that thing, fishtailing around and just holds on to the win light. Incredible racing in our top alcohol.
Your semi-final matchups will be Shane Weston taking on Craig Glasby, and in the Battle of the Funny Cars, Gary Phillips will take on John Canuli.
The Crowcam's pit report here at the Perth Motorplex. Top alcohol. Throwing up surprises like we see in Top Door Slammer. This guy, no surprise to see him make it into another semi-final here, Gary Phillips. You're under pressure to get out there, but good job in round 1.
Yeah, thanks, mate. We were really trying. Let me do this so I don't spill any. Good old Lucas product.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's excellent. Spill a little bit. Yeah, it's driving malfunction. Lucky there's no one to yell at him. Not yet, anyhow. But yeah, I whacked it into second gear as soon as I left the start line. So 582 is a 2-speed. Yeah, well, we got the win line. That's all that mattered.
Let's reflect on qualifying. You got pipped by that teenager in that last pass.
How about selective qualifying? That's why I pulled out of line. But anyhow, no, that's fine. Good on him for running that good. That's why we waited till the last pair just to see what the deal was, because the qualifying position was important. The extra points would have been nice, but hey, congratulations to them. They ran really good.
Well, we've got drag cars heading to the staging lanes, and we're heading to an ad break. Stick with us. The semi-finals are up next. Welcome back to the Perth Motorplex, where we are getting ready for some ANDRA semi-finals. Top Alcohol and Top Door Slammer. Top Alcohol are making their way forward as well, but we're going to check out the semis for Top Door Slammer, and here's how we got here.
Yeah, Pino Priolo, Marty Dack will be your first semi-final, and Grant O'Rourke and Stuart Bishop will take on each other for a berth in the final round. There's Stuart getting ready to, well, tackle this quarter mile here in Perth. He really is a picture of concentration. Fairly relaxed, though, considering this is probably one of the biggest races of his drag racing career.
Well, we've got some really interesting matchups. Pino Parolo, Marty Dack, Grant O'Rourke, Stuart Bishop. One way or another, we're going to send someone to their first ANDRA Top Door Slammer final. And that's going to be pretty exciting, because that means we'll be crowning a new Top Door Slammer champion for around here in the West, as well as we have, again, another big crowd. Love door slammers over here in the West. And we have so many good local races like this guy.
Yeah, Pino Priolo, former sprint car racer extraordinaire. He's stepped across to drag racing, and it's probably been a little bit tougher than what he expected. I don't think there's any secret about that. He's really starting to hit his straps now. They're just focusing on getting this car down the racetrack, going from point A to point B, letting the guy in the other lane beat himself, and that's really what they need to do if they want to go rounds in this sort of a category. He's running consistent 6.0s at the moment, and that's enough to win races. We've seen that already today.
I had a bad problem with this car just getting a bit of a turn going. by a bit of a turn, I mean a lot of a turn, to get to the top of first gear and hook one way or the other. And they had Michael Marriott have a really close look at this car, who's the usual crew chief for Wayne Daly in Pro Stock, and he figured out why it was just putting too much weight on one side of the car, and that's what it was sending it in different directions. They've also had Aaron Deary help them get some speed out of this car. But this will be a tough matchup because Marty Dack is a proven 5-second car. He's done it here at the Motorplex, he's done it over at Willowbank, and he's definitely the favourite to go through to tonight's final. But how's he going to handle that left-hand lane?
Pumping the throttle, Pino Priolo, he is going to be pumped up on the tree for this one. Oh, Marty Dack, though, a little bit too pumped up, and, well, big problems for him. There is a lot of smoke out of that car. And a 6.03 for Priolo. We said 6.0s would do it, and he is on his way to his first ever final round in Top Door Slammer.
Well, let's have a look at what happened first with Marty Dack, and that's, well, it looked like it let go in a big way. It's a lot of smoke and maybe even a bit of fluid coming out of this thing, and he drove it the whole way down. So I'm going to say I like the way that Marty goes about his racing. He presents a good team, but when you have an issue like that, you're really got to get the car stopped as soon as you can. But 6.03, Pino Priolo, that is awesome. Going to his first ANDRA Top Door Slammer final, and a deserved one at that. He's been at this game for a few years, starting to see some rewards. Who's he going to be up against?
He's a pretty excitable bloke as well, so I think he'd be fairly reserved in that car, don't you?
He'd probably put a fist through the roof at the moment. Remember Lee Becktash used to get pretty fired up when he'd win a Pro Stock race. Pino's a little bit the same.
Well, all eyes are on the start line now, and it's going to be one hell of a race right now. Stuart Bishop in the Wallace Bishop Jewelers entry, taking on Grant O'Rourke in his first semi-final for a long time that I can remember. Brand new car for him as well this weekend, so took out the, well, 6-time reigning champion John Zacher in the first round of racing. He was the giant killer, and we will have, as you said at the start of this round, a first-time winner in Top Door Slammer here this weekend, which is quite incredible. When you look at the calibre of races that missed the field, it's just a phenomenal start to this season.
One of those cylinders looks really wet, hey? A lot of methanol chugging out of the first pipe on the right-hand side.
Yeah, alcohol cars do have a tendency to do that, but when they do bring the revs up, quite often it does clear itself out. They don't like to be at idle, funnily enough, these motors. They like being at big, high RPMs. And you want to talk about high RPMs, Stuart Bishop, that car right there has some of the highest RPMs of any blown alcohol car in this country.
Upwards of around the 9,000 RPM markers, keep going up, you reckon? Maybe even 10,000 RPM across the finish line. That's turning an engine very hard. O'Rourke, near a screen. In the far lane, the Wallace Bishop jewellery car, trying to go to his first final, maybe even winning his first event. We're about to find out those big long wheelie bars designed by Jeremy Moore, Craig Lowndes' crew chief.
Big hole shot to Stuart Bishop. O'Rourke over near the centre line, and Bishop is on his way to the final here in Perth. 6.40. It was ugly, it wasn't quick, but he gets the win.
Wow, that thing was all over the place. 2 or 3 stabs at the throttle. Let's first of all look at O'Rourke. He turned the tyres, actually lifted the front wheels, and it went towards the centre line. That's what happened there. It looked like it was turning him, but the wheel speed looked pretty clean. 2 or 3 stabs. There's the shift light coming on. It's an auto trans in this car anyway, well, converter as we call them. And it's 6.40, but a win line.
It's going to be a first-time winner here in Perth. Pino Priolo will take on Stuart Bishop. That's your ANDRA Drag Racing Series ladder for Top Door Slammer.
Pro Cam's pit report time here. The unpredictability of Top Door Slammer racing is rife here tonight at the Perth Motorplex. Stewie Bishop has just made it into a final. My goodness me, what a night this has been.
Yeah, it's full on, isn't it? It's a bit different, you can't tell. You know, they just did all the work to the track, and I thought, you know, it'll take it and we'll be able to hit it hard, but it was a pedal fest to get down there. But it was great. The car went as good as it could go in that condition, which is what you got to do.
Well, we're going to keep it going right now with top alcohol semi-finals action. We'll see Western and Glasby in an all-West Australian affair, and then we'll take it with the Queenslanders. Just like we saw in Top Door Slammer, we had one all-West Aussie race and one all-Queensland race. That's exactly what we have here.
And the first of them will be Shane Weston taking on Craig Glasby. Now, Shane Weston, one of the youngest guys racing in the ANDRA Drag Racing Series these days. He started racing when he was only a teenager in this alcohol car. He's got a lot of laps under his belt, especially here in Perth, and he wants to go to the final round, converting that #1 qualifying spot.
Craig Glasby, on the other hand, this is a guy that has experience going all the way back to when Alan Dobson used to race the old Castrol top alcohol funny car. So, stark contrast to the 21-year-old driver in the Perth dragster. But both born and raised right here in WA, and they have centre stage on this quarter mile. Perth Motorplex, beautiful drag strip that it is. And you'd think this was just a normal club day down here at the Motorplex, but these guys are racing for Christmas trees, the new silver Christmas trees here.
And championship points as well. You've got to remember, Shane Weston, they're trying to source enough sponsorship on this car that they might be able to chase the full series, I understand, this year as well. So potentially another big hitter coming out of Perth in the Top Alcohol Championship. But I think it's safe to say that he has been the surprise packet in Top Alcohol here this weekend. #1 qualifier, knocked off Gary Phillips with that 5.56, only by 0.03 of a second in qualifying. He's currently got low ET. Really, it's been a dream weekend for that team this so far.
Bit of a spray into the butterflies to make sure that they're not going to go getting stuck or frozen shut. It's all part of the pre-race ritual, making sure as it gets blown out of his hand as he walks past the headers. Wow. That goes to show you how much force is coming out of these headers when you give it a bit of a blip of the throttle. Glasby versus Weston, who's going to be going through to their first ANDRA Top Alcohol final. Pre-stage bulbs are on. Glasby first in.
Big hole shot to the funny car again, but it's hunting that centre line.
Oh, good race. Good race. Weston chased him down and couldn't get there. Hole shot win. Craig Glasby won it on the tree. And that surprises me. We're used to seeing the younger guys who are hot on the tree, but this time it's a bit of a reversal, and drove through tyre shake brilliantly. Had the quicker ET, but lost the race because of his reaction time.
Oh, look at the tyre shake on board for Shane Weston. He did a great job of pedaling it, just feathered the throttle ever so slightly, and only just misses out at the finish line.
Well, the guys are getting pumped up for the finals. Pino Priolo in his first ever ANDRA Top Door Slammer final goes over and high-fives his sons. He's going to high-five everyone back there. Watch out if you're in the staging lanes, because Pino's about to give you a big high-five. He's getting pumped up for this ANDRA Top Door Slammer final.
I'm surprised he didn't high-five our cameraman.
He's a pretty excitable character at the best of times. That one's coming up soon. You don't want to miss the ANDRA Top Door Slammer final. It's going to be an exciting one. We've got one more semi to go in Top Alcohol, and this is an interesting one. Gary Phillips versus John Cannulli. The last time these two met was in the top end when they raced each other in Darwin.
Very strong burnout from John Cannulli, as always. Has really become one of the hitters in Top Alcohol.
This has been plaguing him all weekend in this funny car. He just cannot get that roof flap open.
And if you're wondering why they opened that roof flap, it's because these cars are basically just a fiberglass body draped over the chassis. What it means is there's a lot of gaps where tyre smoke gets inside this car. So when they open the hatch, it actually ventilates them inside, gets a little bit more air in there. A little bit more oxygen means maybe a little bit sharper on the tree. That's the theory anyway. And John Cannulli, he's looking to be sharp on the tree up against the 16-time national champion in Top Alcohol. Don't forget there's one as well in Top Door Slammer, Gary Phillips.
Something of an institution in world Top Alcohol racing. This guy can hold his own with the best anywhere. Had an unfortunate accident at the Motorplex last season, rode off a body. He stepped up to a new body on this car. It was a Mustang, wasn't it? That unfortunately didn't last very long.
Yeah, it was quite a big impact as well into the sand. But the Monte Carlo certainly seems to be doing the job for him this weekend. #2 qualifier coming in. Who's it going to be?
Tight at the tree. A pedal for Phillips could be all that Cannulli needs to march on through to the final, and he does. 5.65 with the win light. Gary Phillips, big speed, over 250 miles per hour. But the thing is there, as Paul Rooks and the boys high-five each other, a big pedal.
Picture of consistency this weekend. John Cannulli, he went 5.61 in qualifying, 5.66 in the first round, 5.65 right here. Oh. He has got that thing dialed in. Gary Phillips, great driving job. Had to pedal the car, and that was just enough to open the door and let Cannulli through to the final.
Yeah, classy drive from Phillips. Just feathered that throttle ever so slightly, but Cannulli, a perfect pass in the other lane, and he's gone on through to tonight's final. It's Glasby versus Cannulli.
The ProCam's pit report here at the Perth Motorplex, and Top Alcohol has really turned it on this weekend. Talking about turn it on, Craig Glasby. This has been a big work in progress, and you're into a final.
Yeah, it is. We ran 12 months ago at this event and made it to the final, but the curfew outdid me and I didn't make it in. So to come here with a brand new combo, we spent the last 12 months with new cylinder heads. We've gone to the Noonans from the Brads and changed a lot of things on the car. So the guys have worked hard, come out here, and we basically did 2 laps last meeting just to get myself back into the swing of driving one. To come out here and make it into the finals, unbelievable. And to take out Shane Weston, you know, guy around a 5.56, young kid, awesome reaction times. I'm an old bugger. Nail him on a tree is not a bad effort, so no, it's great.
"19 boiled down to 8, and 8 has boiled down to 2. The final 2 in ANDRA Top Door Slammer, and one way or another, we're going to crown a first-time champ. Will it be Pino Priolo in the Team Budget forklift Chevy, or in the other lane, will be this man in the Wallace Bishop Jewellery Camaro, Stuart Bishop from Brisbane? Game on.
This is going to be one hell of a matchup. Stuart Bishop has done a pretty good job of driving this car all weekend long. Went 6-0 in the first round of racing. Only went 640 in the semi-final, but I tell you what, he drove that thing very, very well. The front end was up, it was shaking, it was rattling, it was rolling. He got it to the finish line first, but Pino Priolo, that thing has been on a string. 6-0, 6-0, 6-0 all weekend long. Bumped his way into the field in the number 8 spot, but he's found himself in the final round, and it's anyone's race from here.
With lane choice, and he's gone and picked that right-hand lane, which is where he ran that semi. So stick to the devil you know kind of theory there for the Team Budget forklift car. What a journey to this point in his life. From Speedway, when you got the chance to watch him race over at Parramatta Speedway, I had the chance to watch him race at Claremont Speedway, and now we're seeing him in a Top Door Slammer final.
It's funny how the world works sometimes, isn't it? But he's racing for the silver Christmas tree here this weekend. And, well, in fact, we are going to have a first-time winner no matter who wins this race, because Stuart Bishop yet to have one of those trophies on his mantelpiece. I'm sure he wants to do it because I know he's had a lot of reasons to win when it comes to family lately.
Yeah.
And I know this win would mean a lot to Stuart and his family.
That's Aaron Deary hanging on to the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, I should say, of Pino Priolo's car, flicking the data logger on. He was a non-qualifier in Top Alcohol this weekend. Has done a lot of work helping Pino Priolo get to this stage. He's earned his spot. So too is this guy. Away we go. Top Door Slammer final. Close at half-track, but put it down. Stuart Bishop. 5.97 in the final. A personal best from Pino Priolo. Not good enough. 6.02 for Pino. But how good is this? A hard-earned win for Dan Reid and the boys as well. 5.90s get him an ANDRA Christmas tree.
Really, really nice run here. If you're going to win a final round, your first final round, this is the way to do it. Straight down the centre of the lane. It's as if he almost took his hands off the wheel right there. Pino Priolo had to fight that thing just a little bit at 6.02. It was a good run, but not quite enough to beat a pumped-up Stuart Bishop.
Tonight a first here at the Perth Motorplex. Stuart Bishop, it's been a long time in the coming. Congratulations, you're the winner.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it's been a fabulous weekend. Trials and tribulations, everyone has them, but it's just come together for us. It's been fabulous. Crew, Daniel Reedy, he's a legend. He's put the tune up in on all weekend. It's just managed to get it down there. Second round was a bit of a pedal fest, but still it all worked well.
Incredible. He comes over to the west, he claims the win, and Stuart Bishop is also your points leader after one round in the ANDRA Top Door Slammer standings. Pino Priolo in there for second, but like we were talking about earlier, some big names that'll be missing from this list.
Yep, some guys who are a long way down in the championship. Peter Kapiris, Victor Bray, Ben Bray, whole stack of big names that aren't in the top 8 at the moment.
Top Alcohol final time, and this big crowd is ready to go. They love blown methanol sedans, funny cars, dragsters, whatever. Hans Device getting ready, clipping in. Can John Cannulli do it in this doo-doo funny car? It was, well, a pretty good drive job just to get to this final. Had to take out the likes of Gary Phillips. But he's going to be up against a real hard charger in this guy, Craig Glasby, Oztech Metals funny car. a local racer that has a lot of experience here at the Motorplex.
Yeah, Glasby's got the local knowledge, doesn't he? So you've got to wonder, is that going to play a part here? You can see the flags blowing straight back up the racetrack. So a little bit of a headwind for these funny cars. It's going to give them a little bit more downforce, but it's also going to rob them of a little bit of horsepower at the top end of the racetrack. So they're going to have to adjust for that in their tuner. John Canuli, though, this car has been on a string all weekend long. Qualified with a 561, went 566, 565 in the first 2 rounds of racing. This thing has been dialed in right from the start, and it's got to give Canuli a lot of confidence coming into this final round.
He rolls into the arena, over the water box, lights up the tyres. Glasby joins him, almost synchronised skids as they pull up at about quarter track. You can see the 330-foot timing marker in the middle of the racetrack. Those markers are actually made of foam. They have a reflective beacon on each side of them, and it helps to give out the incremental times the whole way down the racetrack.
Very important when it comes to tuning these cars as well. It's what the crew chiefs look at. They compare the data on the timing sheet to the data that they get from the timing cones, I should say, to the data that they get from the race car. They can see what the car's doing at various points down the racetrack, where they need to speed up, where they need to slow down. It really is a vital tool when it comes to tuning these cars.
When you get late into the night like this and the track temp finally starts to fall away, it's very important that you line up right where your burnout was. It's part of the racetrack that'll be the warmest. It'll be just about perfect out there right now. We've had some crazy track temperatures recently. When we had Top Gill here, it was well up at about 150, 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
I wonder if you could fry an egg on that. I've often wondered if we go out there and crack one on the racetrack, that whether it'll actually start cooking.
Probably would, to be honest.
I don't think I'd want to eat it after that. But
probably freeze an egg on top of these injector hats right now when the cold air sets in, the low pressure system that they create, the methanol as well. Top alcohol. It's going to be an interesting one, this one. It's Glasby versus Canuli here at the Motorplex.
Whole shot to Canuli, picks up the front end, and he is on his way to a win. Streaks away. Good run as well. Another 560, this time a 560. That's his low ET for him for the weekend. Great run, gets the win and the Christmas tree. Glasby looked like he had some problems over in that far lane.
Didn't really get off the start line. We'll have to have a look to see what was wrong with Glasby's pass that time through, but that was just about perfect. Paul Rooks, who was just accepting a hug right there, knows how to get this car down the racetrack. A little bit of spark out the back of the clutch can, but that was just about perfect. They said that they wanted to focus on their top alcohol charge, and they're doing that this weekend. Tyre shake, the problem for Glasby, and you can pretty much put a fork in it. That one's done.
Perth's renowned for dishing up different winners. This guy's won here before, but he's done it again. John Canuli, you've won here in Perth.
Yeah, we did it. We've had a good, consistent race car this weekend, and my crew was flawless. They've turned this car around for me and put me in the winner's circle.
Tell us about the good luck charm on top of your head.
This good luck charm. My wife and 2 kids went to America yesterday, and they couldn't be here to share this moment with me. And I've carried this hat with me all weekend, and it's brought me some good luck, and we're here and we've won.
It's going to live in the car for the rest of the year now, isn't it?
It sure will.
Well, John Canuli with a big smile on his face. He is leading your top alcohol championship points after the first round here in Perth, but it is going to be a long, long season. Glasby in second, and that man with the 16 championships, Gary Phillips, is hiding back there in fourth. That's your High-Tech Oils championship points for top alcohol.
Looking forward to the rest of this one as Stephen Ham, Gary Phillips and the rest of the boys try and chase down John Canuli. It's been a massive week here on Speedweek. Thanks for joining us. All the action from ANDRA, Top Alcohol and Top Door Slammer has concluded here in Perth. We'll catch you next time on Speedweek. Close at half track, but put it down, Stuart Fisher. How good is this? A hard-earned win for Dan Reed, the boys' side.
Huge drive drop in the shape.